Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be taking a look at the Transformers Legacy Evolution Core Class Thundercracker. Let's start off by taking a look at the packaging, and then we'll get into the review. So of course up front we have Transformers. On the side we have the Legacy Evolution logo. We have Thundercracker with a Decepticon symbol, and open window displaying the figure when it would be in packaging. We also do have another Legacy Evolution logo right there. We have a really cool artwork shot of Thundercracker in his jet mode with his really cool null rays firing. On the side we have another really cool artwork shot of Thundercracker in his robot mode with his really cool null rays as well. And on the back he transforms in 17 steps, a product shot of Thundercracker in his robot and jet mode. And then we also do half of the Legacy Evolution artwork. So if you do get like Grimlock or any of the other core classes that are Autobots, you can put the packages together and complete the Legacy Evolution artwork. And that is pretty much it for the packaging. So let's now get into the review. Here we have Thundercracker in his robot mode. Let's start off by taking a look at the details, starting at the very top with that head sculpt. Some really cool silver for the face, some red for the eyes, and some black for the main helmet section. Some really cool kind of intake vent sections done in silver as well. Some really cool turbines on the chest. Really well sculpted and detailed in my opinion. Actually a faux kind of cockpit nose cone piece for the chest itself, done in this really nice kind of yellowish orange. Do like that detail there. Some blue for the main crotch and waist, and some really cool glassy black for the hand and forearm, and blue for the shoulder. As for the wings, overall pretty plain, really just done in blue on this front side. If you actually do turn to the back, there's some more details back here. We actually have the real nose cone and cockpit section, kind of a pinkish purple Decepticon symbol, which is kind of cool, and a little stripe of red, which is overall pretty cool. I actually really do like to angle the wings back. I think that looks the best in my opinion. As for the bottom half of the figure, mostly done in blue for the rest of the leg, pretty well sculpted there. Some black for the feet, and we do have the little fins sticking out, which I have to say the tolerances on this figure are much better than Skywarp. Unfortunately, on my Legacy Skywarp figure, the little mini blue fins on the outer part of the foot were so loose they would pop off all the time. If you watch my review, you probably know what I'm talking about because they popped off a lot during that video. So I'm actually really glad with this figure. It is much better tolerance-wise with those little fins. But that is pretty much it for details. As for, of course, articulation, the head can move side to side, not up and down at all. There is a ball joint at the shoulder, so it can move out, in, forward, back. There is a hinge at the wing, a ball joint at the elbow, so there is an elbow bend, no wrist rotation, no waist rotation. There is a kick forward, a kick back, out to the side there is a knee bend, and unfortunately there is no ankle pivots. And like the wings on the top or the back section, you can slightly, if you want to, maneuver the little ones on the feet if you want to just have a bit of a more dynamic pose. Really just up to you. So overall, articulation is pretty good. I'd say probably the biggest thing I'd really like to have on this figure or this mold is a waist rotation. Of course, this is just a direct repaint of the original Kingdom Starscream, which I'll bring out in just a second for comparison. So I don't fault this character or this figure anything. It really just is how the figure was several years ago when it was made in the Kingdom line. I think probably if they had just redid this Starscream mold like today or in a few months, I think they could have probably done it a little bit better as of articulation. The transformation is pretty cool, the design is pretty cool, just the articulation could be a little bit better. As for accessories, he actually does come with his null rays this time, which is really nice to see. As we all know, Skywarp did not come with his null rays, which was such the biggest disappointment. Hopefully, possibly, maybe in some like exclusive pack or some way, maybe we'll get his null rays. Maybe they'll just repack him and reissue him and he'll actually come with his null rays this time. I would absolutely buy another Skywarp just to get his null rays. That's just my opinion. So of course, I'm pretty sure they are the exact same sculpt as the ones that came with Starscream, just done in blue this time. And you can either store him on the shoulder or you can have him hold him in his hand. The connection is a bit loose, as you can see, but it is an option if you want to. But I typically prefer to plug it into his shoulder. I think that looks the best. There we go. And they are Blast Beast compatible if you want to do some really cool poses and effects. And that is pretty much it for accessories. So let's now get down to a few comparisons. So first up, here he is with his Legacy Evolution Core Class mold mate, Grimlock. I do not have Nemesis Prime just yet, but he is coming. He is on the way. So stay tuned for his review and Grimlock's as well. And they overall do look quite cool next to each other. And now for some mold comparisons. Here he is with the original version, Starscream from the Kingdom line. There we go, just kind of straighten them up. And they overall do look very cool next to each other, in my opinion. As you can see, mold-wise, they are the exact same thing, just a heavy repaint. And as you can see, they do come with a null race this time, which is really nice to see. Just up to your own personal preference of which deco you like more. And it's hard because actually my favorite Seeker is Skywarp, and he doesn't come with his null race, so that really hurts. If it was another Seeker, I probably wouldn't care as much, but he's my favorite, so it's a bit disappointing that they chose that one to kind of have the short end of the stick. But overall, looking very cool. Let me know in the comment section down below of the Seeker mold or the Seeker version so far. Which one do you like the most? Thundercracker, Starscream, or Skywarp? And just taking him off to the side, here he is with Skywarp. And I overall really do like the deco on Skywarp. Just the accessories, not the greatest. And overall, do look very cool. And of course, we do have to have a shot where all three are next to each other. I'm going to bring Starscream back real quick. And they do look very cool, and hopefully they'll do some more, Seekers. They've completed the original three, Starscream, Skywarp, and Thundercracker. Maybe they'll do the Coneheads, Rainmakers, Red Wing, some of the other ones. Like maybe they could do a Sparkless Seeker from, the Netflix line. They could just shrink it down into this scale. I think that'd be pretty cool. I'd be open to that. That is pretty much it for comparisons and this robot mode. So let's now get down to transformation into his Jet alt mode. Now for transformation, what you're going to do is actually go to the legs. You're actually going to hinge this entire fin assembly, and there is a tab on the leg itself and a slot on that inside piece that's just going to tab into place. Do the same thing on the other leg, so just hinge those fins back. You can tab the legs together just like that. Then what you're going to do is get the ball joint, just hinge the form, just rotate it, and then there is a slot on the wing itself and a tab on the form that's just going to tab right into place just like that. Do the same thing on the other side, so just hinge the wing forward, rotate using that ball joints, and that will tab into place just like that. Then you can actually split the chest. I always thought this engineering for this core class figure was actually pretty impressive for how small it is. It's actually pretty intricate. And then what you're going to do is actually get this entire nose cone from the back, hinge this up, and then push this forward and down. You can also push the legs forward just to get some added clearance. You can use this whole pin, rotate this assembly around, and then there is tabs in the back of the legs and slots on the inside of this whole panel. That's just going to tab into place just like that. Then you can kind of angle the wings down just to get some more room, and then you're going to use this hinge here. This is going to hinge up like that, and then you can go to the underside, push the head down, and then you're going to get the nose cone. This is just going to hinge into place like that. And there we go. And then you can push the head down. That's just going to fall right into that cavity. As for the last few steps, you're just going to push both sections together like that. Make sure it's nice and flush up top and everywhere else like that. So there we go. And as for the last step, just you're going to put these little fin pieces out, and there we have Thundercracker in his jet mode, overall looking very, very cool. Let's take a look at the details. Here we have Thundercracker in his jet mode. Let's quickly take a look at the details, starting at that nose cone, mostly done in blue, with some really nice orange for the entire cockpit or windscreen section, with some silver for the intakes, and a really nice red stripe on the wing with a very classic Decepticon symbol done in this kind of pinkish purple, really cool color, and some glossy black for these back fin pieces, and some blue for these bottom ones. Overall, a really cool looking jet. On the bottom, of course, we actually do have the arms attached to the wings, and we have the head right there, but overall, pretty clean and compact in my opinion. As for accessories and accessory storage, we have the two null rays, which actually use the same connector port as before. It's that shoulder port right there, and we do have the peg right on the weapon itself, and that just plugs right into place just like that. Going to the other side, you're just going to plug it in right there, just like that. And these are Blast Beast compatible, so you can do some really cool flight attack poses if you want to. So now for some comparisons. Here he is with the original version of this mold, Starscream. Overall looking very cool next to each other. Kind of a side view, top view. And that is pretty much it for this comparison. So quickly, here he is with Skywarp. Overall, looking very, very cool next to each other. Of course, I did leave his kind of fork piece off to the side. Not the greatest storage for that accessory, and not the greatest accessory, but do let me know in the comment section down below what is your favorite version of this Starscream mold so far. And that is pretty much it for the jet mode and comparisons. So let's now move on to the final thoughts. Now for the final thoughts for the Transformers Legacy Evolution Wave 2 Core Class Thundercracker. I think overall this figure is pretty good. Of course, it is just a direct repaint of the original Kingdom Core Class Starscream, so there's really not that much to say about it. I'm actually really glad this comes with the no rays this time. Unfortunately, the Skywarp figure did not come with those. Hopefully, we'll be able to get those in a different way. Maybe they'll repack it or re-release it, or maybe they'll be in some exclusive pack. I'd really like to see that. So it does come with the no rays, which are Blastoise compatible, which is really nice. So you can put them in some really cool battle poses. I really do like that head sculpt, and all the silver on the chest is pretty cool. I do like the transformation. It's actually pretty actually complex for a core class figure. Of course, it's really not that hard. Even if you haven't dealt with this mold before, you'll get it down pretty easy. But for a core class figure, actually quite involving and quite a bit of engineering that I'm very surprised by. You do split the chest actually completely in half, which always really surprised me, and I actually really do like that step. And it's also super cool how the chest is actually a faux cockpit piece, which I always really do like when they use faux pieces. Sometimes it doesn't work out with certain figures, but I think it really does work out with this one. Overall, I really do like the jet mode. Of course, the no rays can store on the wings. Really like that glossy black in this mode and in the other mode. Also, the tolerances on this figure are actually quite a bit better, especially where these little back fins are concerned. Unfortunately, on my Skywarp figure, the little back fin pieces were so loose they would pop off all the time. Even without touching it, they would just pop off. I do have to say, the joints are actually quite tight on this figure. I do have to say though, just as a mold, not just specific to this Thundercracker figure, I think the articulation could be better. As I mentioned before, I think if they had just made this mold, I think if they made a Core Class Starscream this year in 2023, I think they probably could have done a little bit better with the articulation, because there is no wrist rotation, no waist rotation, and no ankle pivot. So I think they could have at least done one of those three I just listed that are not on this figure. It's a bit unfortunate in that area, but everything else, it's a pretty good figure. Highly recommend it. Let me know what you think of Thundercracker in the comment section down below. Of course, I'll add more Legacy Evolution reviews coming soon. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.